Today we're going to learn about healthifying your cooking and how you can just live a healthier life all around. We get to learn, our presenter today is Tyler Christensen. He's a school teacher, web designer, sports writer, and father of 4. He recently lost over 100 pounds and ran a 52.4 mile ultra marathon. He is the host of a new YouTube show, Virtual School Assembly, as well as the host of the health and fitness podcast, After the Run. He loves to eat, hates to cook, and has figured out a few things so he and his family can be healthy and happy. Tyler, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, Natalie.
Good to see you. What do you have for us?
All right. Do I just go right into it?
Go for it, yeah.
All right. Hi, everybody. So like Natalie said, my name's Tyler, and I really don't like to cook at all. But I do it about 15, 20 years ago. I told my wife that I was willing to cook for her because she was always cooking for me. So I started a long time ago every Sunday doing Sunday dinners. And I would always do a big Sunday dinner, you know, with everything in it. And we'd have company over regularly. So I've been cooking for a long time, but honestly, I just don't love it. And it's one of those necessary evils, which doesn't make sense because I love to eat. I will eat anything. I'm not very picky. And unfortunately, I have eaten almost everything. And that's why I struggled with weight loss. Natalie mentioned that I lost 100 pounds. This was 2 years ago. So actually 2 years ago, almost today, I started a weight loss journey where I decided enough was enough. I needed to take control of my health. And so I made some rules for myself. I'd been doing research on what healthy eating looked like and what exercises I should be doing. And so I went on this journey. The goal was to lose 40 pounds, but after I lost a few pounds, I felt really good. And so I kept up with it. And again, I continued to learn about healthy eating along the way. So as I was learning, I kept losing weight till after a year, I'd lost 103 pounds and I'd gone from 40% body fat down to 23% body fat. And I felt so much better. Now, a few things that I lost along the way that are important here is, one was losing weight and being at a healthy weight is 90% diet. Previously, I always thought that I could run my way out of a bad diet, which is why I never lost weight. I've been a runner all my life. I've run a ton of marathons. I've always been running and been active. But the last marathon I ran at almost 280 pounds because while I trained for the marathon, I overcompensated for that calorie deficit by eating too much. And so I would always be hungry because of my training. And so I would overeat. Well, over years, I gained more and more weight until I finally decided to lose the weight. So a few things about losing the weight, and then I want to get right into healthy eating, healthy shopping, and then healthy cooking. If we're going to talk about healthifying our cooking, it starts with deciding what you're going to eat, then getting those foods, and then actually cooking those foods. So for me to decide what I wanted to eat to live a healthy lifestyle, I did a ton of research. I watched YouTube videos, I read blogs, and listened to podcasts. And fortunately, there were several things that everyone said in common that is, I guess, general knowledge. But in case you don't know all the obvious things, let me go through a few of those. Drink a lot of water. That's one of the biggest things that anyone can do. And don't drink other calories. So you might love your tea or your coffee, or you might like to have a soda or whatever from time to time. You can do that if you decide to, but drinking your calories is one of the worst ways to take sugar into your body, because then that's all your body does is try to get rid of that sugar that you're drinking. And so one of the worst things you can do for your overall health is drink soda or many other beverages. So uptaking your water consumption will make you so you're less thirsty for other things. So if you don't want to give up your favorite drink, maybe you don't have to right away. Just start drinking more water, and then you won't have as much room for the other things. And that's what I found throughout this whole process is you don't have to get rid of everything you love to eat healthy. You just need to start adding more and more healthy things to your diet, and that's going to squeeze out a lot of the unhealthy things. Now, one thing that I learned early in the process was if I was eating a lot of sugar and processed foods, I was going to be craving food all the time. And so one thing that I had to do, and honestly for me, the turning point in my weight loss journey was giving up added sugars for an extended period of time. If you do it for a day or two, that's great. And that's why a lot of people can lose weight really quickly. You can lose 5 or 10 pounds in a week, but you'll gain it back if it hasn't changed your lifestyle. And so I decided 2 summers ago to give up all added sugars for the entire summer. And it was really hard the first few weeks. I was hungry all the time, but then your body works it out of your system, and then those cravings go away. So drinking more water and having less sugars and processed foods makes a huge difference. Then for me, the other big thing, and again, this is obvious to people who are healthy, but eating more vegetables. And the reason I didn't do that is I hated vegetables. They didn't taste good. And so I'm excited to share with you today some of the things I've done so that now I love vegetables. I can't get enough of them. And in fact, I can eat as much as I want, and it's not going to affect my weight because I'm eating what I like and it's good for me. So eating more vegetables, more whole foods, better proteins, your fish, your lean proteins like chicken breast. We do a lot of eggs in my household. And so those things all help you feel full. They help you feel satisfied, those lean proteins. And so doing that in combination with vegetables. And if you're vegan or vegetarian and you don't want to have those lean proteins, there certainly are vegetarian alternatives to that. It will affect how you feel. And so as with all of my advice today, what I say is test it out, see how your body reacts to things, because there are some things that your body might just not react very well to. When I was trying to lose weight, I gave up a lot of things just to see what it would do for me. And I learned to pay attention to my body. So I even gave up natural sugars like in fruit for a while because I was still craving all the time. And by giving up fruit, it helped me get over that hump. Now, I still eat fruit all the time now, but it was learning to listen to my body. My wife gave up dairy, and that made a huge difference for her body and the inflammation and different things that were happening. For me, dairy didn't make an impact. And so you have to test different things out. The other thing I learned early in this process was you want to have a lifestyle, not live a diet. And so if you're doing something today that you can't do 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you might want to rethink how you're eating or what you're consuming because you want something that's sustainable over the long term. Now, that's not to say there aren't times and periods where you might do something just for a period. So for example, on the healthy side, you might give up sugar completely for a month or 2 months or 3 months to help you get over those cravings and get over the hump, but then reintroduce that. Conversely, you might decide that you don't want sugar as a normal part of your diet, but when the holidays roll around and there's all that social pressure to eat junk food, that maybe for the holidays, you reintroduce sugar for a short period of time. It's okay to do that. What's important is the lifestyle, the long-term decisions that you're making. So when it comes to eating, more vegetables, more water, more whole foods, better proteins, less sugar, less processed foods. For me, breads and pastas fall under that same category as processed foods. It's something that makes me crave. Some people miraculously can have bread and pasta and it doesn't have a huge impact on them, but most of us could probably reduce the amount of bread and pasta in our diets. And then it's okay to have cheat days or weeks. The lifestyle is more important than the diet. So that takes me, actually, let me share one more thing before I get into our shopping list. One of the cool things is, so I lost 100 pounds in a year. And then after that year, I said, okay, I'm going to loosen up on some things, try to reintroduce sugar into my diet. You know, I've established a lot of good healthy habits with my eating, but let me try different things and see what impact. Well, over the last year, so year one, I lost 100 pounds. Year two, I gained 25 pounds. Now, I actually lost 5 pounds of fat. And so even though my diet was a little looser, it was the reason I gained weight back is I put on another 25 pounds of muscle. And so I'm even healthier now than I was a year ago, even though my rules for eating have loosened up a little bit. Now, I know that I don't want to stay loose on all my rules, because I know if I reintroduce sugar and processed foods, my body is going to be inflamed. I'm going to bloat a little bit. I'm going to hold on to different kinds of weight that I don't want. And so I need to get rid of those things long term. But it's interesting to see that you don't have to be completely strict all the time. You can live a healthy lifestyle. All right, so let's get to shopping. Again, I don't love cooking, but I do love shopping. I love shopping for food. I'll go to the grocery store for a fun date with my wife or with my kids, just because I love to be there. Now, the number one rule for shopping is don't shop hungry. So if you shop hungry, you're going to get junk foods. You're going to get whatever you crave. And usually we crave unhealthy foods. And so don't shop when you're hungry. Go after you've eaten a meal. If you like to go in the morning, eat breakfast first, then go shopping. If you go during the day, eat lunch first, then go shopping. Now, another rule of thumb that most people know, but I didn't know this a few years ago, was the best places to shop are the perimeter of the store, of the grocery store. So hang out mostly there. I used to just go up and down every single aisle, get what I want. And that's part of the reason I love shopping, is I would get all the craving foods that I want, and I would get a lot of garbage. Now I go with a list, so I'm intentional. And if it's not on my list, I don't go down that aisle. So we skip most of the aisles now, but I always walk around the store because that's where the best stuff is. That's where you're going to get your eggs, your dairy, your proteins, and your produce. And so spend most of the time on that outside. Now, when it comes to produce, this is a cool thing. Most things, when they go on sale, it's because the store has to get rid of it. They need to reduce the price just to get rid of stuff. When it comes to produce, they also do that. They lower the price on stuff that they have too much of. The only difference with processed foods and produce, though, is you have too much produce because it's in season, and that's the best time to eat it. So when produce goes on sale, that's actually the best time to buy it. So when you're shopping for produce and you're in the produce section, look for sales, because that probably means that fruit and vegetable is going to be the best tasting for the year. It's going to be in season. They have too much of it. So like right now, strawberries are dirt cheap. It's because strawberries right now are amazing because they're in season. And then at the end of the summer, apples will drop in price because that's when they're in season. So learn to shop according to the sales when it comes to produce. Unfortunately, with meat and other things, we don't have that same kind of rhythm. We're not on the ocean, so we're not going to get great deals on seafood, and it's not nearly as good here. I used to live on the East Coast, and I miss my fresh fish. But you can, get good deals if you're looking for it. And that's my next thing with shopping, is learn when they have the best deals. I love to buy like those individual salads that have everything in it, or like the Nourish bowls. Well, I have found, I shouldn't tell you because then you'll start going when I'm shopping. Oh no, I didn't think of this. Okay, I won't tell you the day. There's a day of the week that those go on clearance. And so that morning, that's when I go shopping for those things. And I go almost every week, partly because I love shopping, so I'll go on my way to work. But I go at the same time because I know what to get. Also, don't go to the same stores because different stores will have good prices on different things. And so we mostly buy the same 100 things over and over and over again. If you keep track of what things you eat regularly and then shop around to find the best price on that thing, when the normal price, which one is the best and which ones go on sale, if you get into a habit of that, pretty soon you're going to have a shopping list that you can repeat, and you're going to know which deals to get at which stores at what time. And so that's really going to simplify your life and make it easier for you to buy healthy foods. Oh, and if you do like to buy garbage, we do that. And the best time to buy garbage is right after holidays. So if you want to get that 90% off at Walgreens and buy all their candy, that's what we do, and hold on to things. And so that's the best time to buy garbage. Just don't do it very often. All right, so that's shopping. And you can ask me questions about this later. But I want to get into the cooking part. We're healthifying our cooking. So the biggest part of healthifying your cooking is buying the right ingredients. And you buy the right ingredients by having the right diet. So that's why we've gone in this order. But when it comes to cooking, there are a few things that will make it easier for you. Again, I hate cooking, so I want to make it as easy as possible. Rule number one for me is to batch. When I cook for many meals at one time. So if I'm going to hard boil eggs, I'm not going to hard boil 3 eggs to get me through the day. I'm going to hard boil 20. So I have it for the next week, week and a half, and my kids will always have enough hard boiled eggs. Those aren't going to spoil on me. So I know I can boil a ton of them and then use them when I need to. By doing that, it frees up a ton of time for me, and it makes it easier. You know, if I'm in a crunch and I need to grab a snack, if my only thing to grab is unhealthy, I'm going to grab that protein bar or that unhealthy thing. But if I have hard-boiled eggs or an apple, something easy to grab, that's what I'm going to grab. So batching allows me to do that. I batch with salads as well. So when I'm preparing my salads, I'll get a head of lettuce and I'll cut the whole thing up and put it in a container. I like to put natural sugars on my salad so I don't have to add a lot of dressing and sweeteners. So vegetables that are really high in sugar are corn, peas, beets. So you don't want to just have a whole lifestyle eating those things because that sugar is actually really high content. But to put that on a salad, you know, I'm going to chop up my beets and have that in a dish. I'm going to have my corn ready to go. I'm going to have my peas ready to go. So when I need to make a salad, I can easily throw those things together and it's a piece of cake. So batching is really important. Another thing that I've learned is pan fry instead of deep fat fry. Common sense, I know, but it doesn't take much more work and you don't sacrifice much flavor. In fact, in many cases, you get more flavor if you pan fry it versus deep fat frying. I still fry. I mentioned I still have cheat days. I still eat normal foods. I eat pizza, you know, I'll have ice cream. I don't have those things all the time, but I try to find healthy alternatives. And this is an important thing for those of you with kids. If kids go from eating junk food all the time to then having something that looks healthy, they're not going to eat it. And so you have to ease them into things like that. And so I found when I'm doing healthier versions of foods, I experiment on the things I like to eat, because if I don't like to eat it, I'm not going to eat it long term. But I find the things that I like to eat that are healthy. So I have like a green smoothie recipe that my kids love. But it took me 1 or 2 years to develop and evolve to find out what natural sweeteners I could put in, how I could make it so the kids loved it. So it didn't look like a green smoothie. It didn't look healthy. And I even cheat because my kids won't eat a green smoothie if it's green. So I'll make sure I put in a few blueberries just so it's purple. Then they just think it's a smoothie, right? And so there are some of those cheats that you can do with your kids. But here's the good news. If your kids start eating healthier, then you can introduce even healthier and healthier foods, and it's not going to shock their system. They're going to be more open to it. So as long as you're eating healthy, and introducing healthy foods to your kids and trying to make that as palatable for them as possible, they're going to get used to it, and then they're going to enjoy those things. Just like now I love salad. Now I love to drink water. Before I was eating healthy, I hated those things. It took me a period of time to get used to it. And, oh, desserts. I need to talk about desserts. I don't eat desserts very often, but there are a few things I do that I love. Fruit is a great dessert. I know we don't think of it as a dessert, but even if you don't have it just as your dessert, adding it to something on a dessert will make it healthier, right? So I like to do like sugar-free whipped cream with berries. Or I make a key lime pie with sugar-free whipped cream, and I'll squeeze some key limes into it and grate the rind or whatever that thing's called, the outside thing. There's a name for that I'm not thinking of right now because I'm so smart. Anyhow, putting that together. And do I add sugar to those things? Sometimes. It depends if I'm making it for my kids or just for me. But you can do a lot of healthy things with desserts. I love popcorn, and it doesn't take much to take just normal popcorn, add a little bit of butter, a little bit of salt, and then it tastes delicious, and it doesn't take a lot of work. I like to add different seasonings to things, savory seasonings to my popcorn. And I have found that with almost any dessert, if you're adding natural sweeteners like fruit and trying to mess around with spices or seasonings, you know, cinnamon makes anything taste like a dessert, but it's not going to add a lot of unhealthiness to you. And so it's just playing around with stuff. And I think that's all I've got. So I'm ready for questions now if you guys are.
Perfect. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, and just a reminder, if any of you do have questions, you can go ahead and add that to the chat. And we do have one question. What are your thoughts about diet soda?
Diet soda? Okay, this is a good one. Actually, me and my wife argued about this one for years and years because I love not the diet soda, but the 0-calorie water that's flavored like fruit. Like I love that grapefruit water, right? And what we found is there have actually been a lot of studies done on diets and on natural sweeteners. And what we know from a medical standpoint is those things don't have calories. And so they're not unhealthy. But what they do have are sweeteners that trigger cravings in you. And so if you're just drinking diet soda, it's not making you less healthy, but it'll make you crave things that are unhealthy. And so I have found in my own life, giving that up, even though I love that no sugar water, I've given that up because it made me crave other things. And so while it's not unhealthy, it might lead to other things that are. Great question.
Wow, that is very interesting. All right, here's the next one. What was your favorite food that you added to your diet when you changed your diet around?
This will sound like it's not sincere, but it is. I used to hate salad, and now I have salad every day for lunch, and I love it. It's because of what I put on my salad. I mentioned earlier, corn, peas, beets. I'll almost every day put some ranch dressing on it, and sometimes I'll do croutons or chips or things. But I love salad. I'll eat it for dessert. I want that to be the last thing I eat, so the rest of the afternoon I don't get hungry, because it leaves me feeling good and feeling satisfied. So it's not just that I like the taste, but I like how I feel after it. So salad's really the big thing for me. Salad and salmon. I love salmon.
So if you had added salad in your diet earlier before you changed things around, do you think you would have liked it as much, or did your taste buds change? Like what happened there?
I was too addicted to sugar. I had too many cravings all the time, and especially iceberg lettuce. I really like iceberg lettuce on my salads now, but 2 years ago, it just tasted like that. It was just like water, you know, it was just this stuff that had no flavor and no taste to it. If I had made salads then the way I make them now, I'd probably be okay with it, but I wouldn't want one every day. I would eat it because I had to, because my wife wants me to be healthy, right? And so that's really what it was before. It wasn't until I took sugar out of my diet, got rid of a lot of processed foods, then salad actually tastes better. So yes, I do think my taste buds changed.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Maybe it takes a refined palate to enjoy salad, huh?
Yeah, you're saying I'm refined? Thanks.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, any ideas or first steps for the person trying to eat less sugar? Because I imagine that is a very hard thing. What would you suggest for somebody beginning that?
You know, I tried to take sugar out of my diet for decades. And I would go, like for me, there was a period in my life where I had ice cream literally for every meal for like months. I would have like an ice cream sandwich for breakfast. It was ridiculous. I loved ice cream. And throughout the years, as I've tried to take sugar out of my diet, only one thing has worked for me. So I'd love to hear if other things work for other people. But for me, the only thing that has ever worked is giving it up completely for a period of time. I had to say, okay, starting on May 15th, I'm not going to have sugar for 2 weeks. I'm absolutely going to say no. So yesterday, I'm off sugar right now. And my daughter made lemon bars yesterday, and it's one of my favorite desserts. And normally that would be a thing that I would agonize over. And I'd be like, should I just have one, or should I have just one tray? But because I'm off sugar right now and my family knows it, I just say no. It's not even a decision I have to make. It's so easy because I've committed for a period of time not to have sugar. So even though people around me are having sugar, it's easy to say no once you're used to saying no. So you just have to practice that.
Okay. And then it gets easier with time then. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, absolutely. After a while, you want to keep that. My battery's about to die. I'm going to run in and grab my cord. Or actually,
okay.
Maybe I can send someone to grab a cord for me. Do you want to ask the next question, and then I'll send someone to grab it?
Yes. The next question is, what is a common meal plan for a day for you? What would you eat during a day?
Okay. So I have 2 different kinds of days. I do intermittent fasting, so I often don't eat breakfast except on the weekends. And so on a weekend where I'm eating more, I'm running more, for my favorite breakfast is going to be scrambled eggs with some sort of, either I'll put cheese on it, or maybe we'll have Spam and eggs. I love fried up Spam, but we'll do some sort of eggs or maybe oatmeal. So I love eggs and oatmeal for breakfast with water. I don't drink anything. Then For lunch, my typical lunch, I'm going to move this with you so I don't die on you here. My typical lunch is going to be a big salad. And when I say big, I mean like, you know, those huge salads you can buy at the store for like a whole family. I'll do that just by myself. So I'll have a big salad and then some sort of protein. Now, as a school teacher, I actually usually eat at the cafeteria at school. So my typical lunch is they have a salad bar at school, and I'll have my normal tray, just like the students do that have the different compartments. And I'll never take the milk. I'll never take the dessert. And I usually don't take the bread. So what I'm putting on my tray is in one little compartment, I have a protein for the day. Like the main thing, it might be rice with orange chicken, or it might be something else. They'll fill one compartment with a vegetable like corn or green beans. And then the rest of my tray, I go into the salad bar and I heap it up with lettuce and make my favorite salad. So that's my typical lunch. Sometimes I'll have cottage cheese with that. I really like cottage cheese because the protein is heavier. It stays with you. It makes you feel full. So I like that, especially on the days where I'm not eating breakfast. To have a really satisfying lunch with a big salad and cottage cheese, that's awesome. Then dinner, my wife typically cooks dinners for our family, and she is a healthy chef. And so we will typically have some sort of garden vegetable, squash, zucchini, maybe green beans or something like that. And I'll have a big helping of that. We'll typically have some sort of fruit, whether that's sliced apples or oranges or applesauce. I'll have that. We'll have some sort of protein. It's usually chicken at our house, and so I'll have some version of chicken, and then like a rice or something like that. And so that's typically what I have for dinner, and I don't snack. So other than that big lunch and that big dinner, I don't have other foods during the day. If I am going to snack, it's going to be popcorn at night while I'm watching movies with kids.
And so you mentioned that you do cook every once in a while. What's one of your favorite meals that you like to cook?
Oh, I do. I do have meals that I like to cook, and it's mostly because if I don't cook it, I won't eat it because no one else around my household will cook it. So I love to do a chicken coconut curry that I'll make. I love sauces, and sauces aren't as healthy for you, so it's a good thing I'm not cooking all the time because I'll put a lot of like cream in my sauces, and that's not really good for you. And I like cheese a lot, and so it's a good thing I don't do that, but I like to make chili, any kind of creamy soup. I love to batch. And so like if I'm going to cut up potatoes, I'll cut up enough potatoes to make hash browns, to put it in a soup, to fry it up for different things. And so I'll do a lot of that all at once. And so a lot of my favorite meals actually involve things that I can batch like that. And so like, whether it's a curry or a soup, I'm usually going to chop up some potatoes to put in it. I love sweet potatoes, and so I'll also chop those up. You start cooking your potatoes first because they take longer to cook than sweet potatoes. Then I'll add the sweet potatoes or purple potatoes, and then so I'll go white potatoes first, then purple potatoes, then sweet potatoes, and making a hash out of those potatoes. Oh, I love that. I'll do like a garlic salt on that and maybe some Parmesan cheese. It's amazing. So those are some of the things I like to make.
Well, that sounds really good. So if you're eating healthy most of the time, it's okay to switch up and eat something that's tasty and maybe has a little bit more fat and things in it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when you're eating a healthy lifestyle, when you have a healthy lifestyle, so you're not having a lot of sugars and processed foods, your body's going to actually use the other things more economically. So for example, you don't want to have a cheeseburger every day because it's high in sodium, it's high in unhealthy fats. But if you're exercising regularly and eating good salads and things like that, a cheeseburger every once in a while is actually really great for you because you might be deficient in sodium. You might be deficient in some of those fats. And so I like to have cheeseburgers. I'll have pizza from time to time. I actually don't love pizza as much as I used to, probably because my taste buds have changed. But yeah, I think you absolutely can have foods that aren't traditionally deemed healthy as long as you have a healthy lifestyle. So again, I'd say just like being healthy is 90% diet and 10% exercise. When it comes to diet, if you're eating 90% healthy and 10% unhealthy, you're still going to be okay.
Okay. Well, that's a good thought. Well, and this is our last question for the day. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yep.
This question is, have you noticed a difference between homemade or store-bought pastas and bread as far as it affecting your body?
That's a good question. The truth is we don't do homemade pasta very often at all. And so I can't really compare that. I can compare homemade bread. And I would say for me personally, I'm worse off with homemade bread. And that's just because it's so delicious, I overeat. If I could just have a slice or two, healthy bread is better for you and you're not going to crave as much. But I just love the taste so much that I'm going to overeat on it. So I would say find the things that you can eat that you enjoy, but that you're not going to binge eat, right? And so if you can eat homemade bread, as far as the effect on your body, yeah, it's going to be better for you and you're not going to likely have as many cravings. But if you have a sweet tooth or if you're more prone to cravings, just be careful with it.
Oh, well, thank you. That's really good feedback, Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe we have any other questions.
Nope. So thank you for joining us today, and we truly hope that you enjoyed learning something new. You can watch the recordings of all our free community classes at suu.edu/keeplearning or on our YouTube channel named Be Wise Keep Learning. We are grateful for your attendance today, and we will see you real soon.